Thank you.
Great. Okay, great. And you know, now, okay, here's a quick question about probability, about independent and dependent events. Okay, and so you know, let's talk about this. Okay, so probability is a great one. Gives a lot of people a lot of trouble here. Okay, the probabilities. Okay, so let me give a little rundown and see if this helps. Okay, so now. We could talk about a certain event. I don't know, whatever this is, event A, and the probability of event A. What's the chance that that event A occurs? Okay, and I could have another event or outcome. Okay, I mean, this could be earnings going up, could be earnings going down, this could be bankrupt, whatever it is. That's an outcome. That's an event. So what is the chance, or what's the probability of event B occurring? So these are referred to as unconditional probabilities. Okay? And I'm really confident to say that in any exam question, they would have to start by giving you these unconditional probabilities. I mean, I really doubt that you're going back to odds for and odds against and having to turn that into probability. I really doubt that, okay? And, you know, like something like, what's the probability of rolling a 1 on a 6-sided die, okay? I mean, there's 6 chances, 1 out of 6 is my probability, okay? I really doubt that is happening, okay? So based on questions that I've seen from practice exams and their samples. So here's unconditional. And now, okay, there it is. You okay so far? Okay, I'm going to deviate from your question slightly, okay? And now I'm going to talk about conditional, something which is contingent. If something happens only if another event occurs. Okay, so conditional probability. So conditional probability means an event occurs only if another event has occurred. So there's a sequence there. So if I wanted to say event A occurs, okay, here, so let's say A only if B occurs. Okay, so what is that in probabilities? So let's see here, A/B, and let me now just tell you what I'm writing here, okay? So this now says, what is the probability of event A occurring given that event B has occurred? What is the probability of A occurring only if B has occurred? This is a conditional probability. Okay, so now these are linked together. Okay, so unconditional and conditional probabilities. Okay. Are we okay on that so far? Okay, I hope so. Okay, let me just clear this off. And now let's put this in here, okay? So now the question asked about independent events and events which are not independent, okay? So events where we have a conditional probability, these are not independent. One event is occurring only if contingent upon another event occurring. They're not independent at all. Independent means that there's no conditional requirement. Either event could occur, both events could occur, none of the events could occur. That's what independent means. Okay, so now here's where the significant part comes in. The significant part comes in when we are trying to calculate the probability of both A and B. Okay, so if they are independent events, then the probability is just probability of A times the probability of B. That's for independent events. Okay, so there's no relationship. They talk about rolling a die. If I roll a die, or is it a dice? I don't know, a die. And I get a 1, and then I roll it again. What's the chance of getting a 1? Nothing. I don't know. Okay, I mean, maybe that's a bad example. I flip a coin, and the chance of getting a head is 50%. And I keep flipping it. The chance of getting a heads is still 50%. Okay, so if I want to keep, finding out what the chances of getting a head and then getting another head, then I have to multiply these out. I hope that I explained it. That was terrible. Okay. Independent events, the probability of both of them occurring, the joint probability, this is referred to as the joint probability, is just simply multiplying out the probability of each event occurring. If they are not independent and there's a conditional requirement, okay, how are you going to understand that? Well, they may give you a conditional probability in the question. They may use the language, if this, then that, only if. So they'll use that kind of language. It's conditional upon this, okay? I will also talk about mutually exclusive. Okay, absolutely. So let's just finish this discussion now. So now if the events are not independent, I'm going to write this in a different color, and I hope you can see it here, okay? So, okay, what are we going to choose? We're going to choose this color here, and I hope you can see it. The probability of A and B. Okay, and I'm actually going to write another one down here, the probability of A and B, because what I want to get across to you is actually, yeah, that's right. What I want to get across to you is this, okay? No, I don't want to write that at this moment. I was trying to be too fancy. Let's just get rid of this for 1 minute. Before I do that, let me just come back up here to my probability of A and B, and I want you to realize this, that it makes no difference if I write this, probability of B times probability of A. Okay, sounds silly for me to write that, okay, but I'm going to use this as a demonstration. But first, I'm just going to clear the screen so that I can write instead of just in that little corner. Okay, so probability of A and B is equal to probability of A times probability of B. Independent events. Or we could write down probability of A and B is equal to the probability of B times the probability of A. Okay, you know that, okay? Let's drop down to events which are not independent. Okay, now I'm going to go back to that fancy color. Probability of A and B. So now let's watch this. It now depends on what information you're given in the question. So, well, let's say we are given the probability of A. So if we're given the unconditional probability of A, somewhere there has to be a statement that talks about B. And it is not the unconditional probability of B, it will be the condition. The probability that B occurs given that A has occurred. Kind of looks the same, in my opinion. Probability of A, and then this is the probability of B. This is the probability of B given that A has occurred. They were linked. They were not independent. What about if they give us in the question the probability of B? All right, well now I'll have to find in the question something that says something about the probability of A given that B has occurred, because they're not independent. Probability of A given that B has occurred. So I think this is the link into understanding the probability for, you know, where we're going, I think, on the exam for questions. And I want to back up by just saying, don't get carried away, because I don't think that they've got room for more than, you know, 2 questions, maybe 3 questions on this. And I'm pretty sure one's coming with Bayes' theorem. Okay. So I don't think that they're getting really in depth in terms of the probability material. This is all the math which underlies. This is like calculating expected returns. Okay, this is calculating standard deviation and covariance. Okay, using this to calculate those portfolio theory concepts. Okay, so this is what I think you need to take away. Now, is this okay? I mean, answering the question about the independent, non-independent events. Okay. Now, the concept of being independent and mutually exclusive. Okay, so independent events means none, one, or both. So with independent events, you know, there could be no events occurring. There might be one event occurring. There might be both events occurring. Okay. Mutually exclusive means simply one or the other. Okay. It means not both. Okay, so one or the other. That's really the way that I think it's applied here. This could be a link into corporate finance, or we start talking about in terms of these projects, and projects being independent or mutually exclusive. That's where I think that you may see this. Okay, come in here. The probabilities here, and you know, talking about this linking into the joint probabilities, okay, and whether or not these are mutually exclusive or independent events, okay, and that's the difference, okay. And so when you're calculating the probabilities, you know, of both of them for mutually exclusive, I think that its probability of A and B is equal to the probability of A plus the probability of B minus the probability of A and B. I think that's when you're talking about mutually exclusive. They can't overlap. Okay, so don't get carried away. Yeah, go through practice questions. The end of chapter and the online has an abundance of questions. Okay, I think that's, you know, they've done that. It may not be representative of what you can expect on the exam, okay, but I think it's very easy for them to contact a prof who's got a bank of questions that they could just use. And that's really where it's easy to write these kind of questions, okay. So I hope that helps out there, okay. And okay, so yeah, so that quants section, okay, the probability. Take a look down a little further in the curriculum. You'll see how this is applied to calculating expected returns, standard deviation, and correlation, which are the inputs to modern portfolio theory. And that's where it's connected. Okay. All right, great. Okay, I like questions, and if you have, you know, if you're stuck and you've got a picture of something, yeah, great. Even bring it or send it, you know, and I'll put it up here and go through. That even helps me even more. You know, making up something on the spot, okay, that's tough, but okay, we can do it. Okay, and if I can't think about it off the top of my head, I'll put it in my little question parking lot, and I will get back to you on it. Okay, so that you can be moving forward through that curriculum. Okay, great. Okay, good. Okay, well, I mean, like I said, it's just a small group here, and I really wanted to make sure that we are not alone. okay, and that you are progressing through this material, and that, you know, it is overwhelming, and, you know, my thoughts on guiding you through it to try to direct you away from, remember what I said was like the real time traps, the waste of time, okay, and that's the way you move straight through this. Okay, so well, hey, you know, I think we've done some great work here, and you know, this is really great that people have come out, and you know, that's fantastic.